Good morning, my fellow YouTubers. Hope everyone's doing good. Everyone's looking forward to the new year. I'm done with 2025. So I want to talk a little bit about this phenomenon that was tested and proven to exist within the mind of not just humans, but animals as well. Because they use dogs to prove it. And bear with me, I won't talk about it too long, but if you saw the video from about 2.5 months ago, I spoke on this. I just spilled coffee. But it's called learned helplessness. And I forget the scientists that evolved the study. But it involves a little bit of animal cruelty. Because what they do is they take these dogs and they have, I think, like 3 control groups. So, no, I think it's just 3 different scenarios. So first they take the dogs and they observe them sitting calmly, peacefully as time passes in their cages. And they test their baseline, their autonomic nervous system, what their metabolism is at, what their heart rate's at, all that type of information of physiology, how their emotional state is causing their physical state to be very calm and at rest and peaceful. But then they're in this cage with no padding down. So it's like a cage and a regular hardwood floor, let's say. And so there's a grid, and they plug the cage in so that now it's electrified, and it shocks and hurts their paws. And there's no bed to climb into to get away from it. So what they would do is they would just try to lift up each paw as it would get shocked, and they would whine and basically cry. And they would churn, after doing this for 5 or 10 seconds, they would churn the electricity off. But then they set out to see what happens when they don't churn it off. And they just keep shocking the animals, 24/7, doesn't stop. And the animals actually lie down. They reach a point of exhaustion where psychologically it's like an off switch. They give up. And it's at this point that they lie down and they just rest their head and they let their whole stomach and everything get shocked. They don't even care anymore. It's almost like it's not about them anymore. They realize that they have no control over the situation. It's like that prayer, Lord, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change and the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So their discernment and their simple intelligence has determined that they're crying, they're whimpering, they're trying to dance to stay away from the hurtful pain. Really nothing brings an escape to the situation, so they resign to it. And with gang stalking, I kind of reached that point. Where it's just kind of like, stop thinking about how am I going to get out of this. Stop thinking about why is it happening, who's doing it. You can see who's doing it on the front lines, but I mean above and beyond that, trying to figure out, who's doing this, who's one of the top people that decided to put me on this list of targeted individuals. And so why did they decide, and what do they hope to achieve, and where's it going to end? And, you go through all of this kind of ruminating, driving yourself crazy, until you can just kind of reach the point of just going, Lord, you're in control. You're permitting this. I'm going to stop fretting over it and just leave it at the foot of the cross. Ask for you to hold me up with your righteous right hand, and to, like the Psalms, read the Psalms over and over and over, and just keep accepting that, worrying about it, trying to figure all those things out, is like that dog that's trying to dance on the wires. You haven't figured out yet that none of it really matters. The answers to all those questions doesn't really matter. And you'll probably never find them out until you take your first breath in the afterlife. And it is kind of good, because the dog's autonomic nervous system is hyper, and it's going crazy, wacko, while it's in that panic state. But while it just accepts it, its autonomic nervous system and its heart rate actually slows down. Not as much as baseline, but it does. So it's healthier on the body just to accept, I have no control over this situation. And so, other than to try to not react, to try to not show frustration. But then, when it goes on too long, the dogs become depressed. Depression where they can be pulled back. But if it goes on longer and longer and longer, it can reach a point where the depression is like going to be part of them until they die. So it is good for us to eventually put an end to it, because you don't want to reach it to go to a point of such devastation or depression that you're permanently affected by it. But the only way to really put an end to it, it sounds like to me, is to kind of, live where no one exists. And you can do that. You can go off grid. And or primarily just don't care. Just go about your business and accept the things they break. They usually don't steal things, so just accept the phones being hacked. Like I made one video is about, it was the most bizarre thing. The videos would go for like 19 seconds always, and then get paused for like 24 seconds. And so I just started watching my fish tank, and I had dinner, and I would just accept, okay, I get approximately 20 seconds at a clip, and then I get a break to look at the fish tank, pet my dog, eat some of my dinner, and I just accepted it. And that's the best way, is just to roll with it. Don't let anything keep you from enjoying yourself, being peaceful, and doing whatever you want to do. That being said, I understand that it is hard to do that at times. You have grown accustomed to the possessions that you cherish, and you're not used to being violated and having people break them, or whatever the case might be. Because these people can go to extensive lengths. And I don't want to go into the details, but it can involve medical personnel, police, the court system, apartment management, bank tellers, waiters and waitresses at restaurants. I mean, they infiltrate anywhere. If they see you have like more than one kind interaction with someone, it's been my experience, they'll do everything within their power to ruin that. Any sign of a budding relationship, even if it's just an acquaintance, anyone that you have positive interactions with, they will do everything and the most frustrating part about a targeted individual is none of these people that naturally gravitated towards you, that naturally had very engaging, fun, interesting interactions with you, none of these people will ever tell you what they were told and who they were told it by. So it's really frustrating because these people, they do churn people really, really well. That's the one thing I'm more impressed about them than anything. And how I'm unimpressed around the people that, you called acquaintances, that you had a friendly, nice, positive relationship with. How upsetting it is that they're so easy to be churned, and they're so gullible to believe just some person lying against you. And that is kind of, a little bit of a mark against humanity and kind of frustrating. So I got to get going on doing some laundry, I think, and I'm going to call it quits here. But, kind of be the dog that's got learned helplessness, and don't let it go on so long that you're permanently scarred and depressed. And right, we should rejoice in all circumstances, so we should never get depressed. And anytime we start to approach depression, we need to think, okay, what can I do differently? What did I do that really kept me grounded? Oh yeah, I used to jog 5 miles every morning. Well, darn it, I'm going to start with 1, and I'm going to slowly increase back to 5. And I know that's so good for me. I'm going to start doing that more. I'm going to have a routine that involves reading scripture 30 minutes every day. I'm going to have a hygiene regime that I'll never go away from, because I hate to admit it, but sometimes I don't feel like brushing my teeth, and I actually give into it and will go a whole 24 hours without brushing my teeth. So I'm going to have a regime set up where there's no if, and, or buts, and I'm just going to do A, B, and C every morning, whether I like it or not. I never make my bed, because several years ago I heard that there's moisture under your covers, and it's bad to make your bed right away because mildew will start to grow because that moisture gets entrapped. So I'm going to fold the covers off when I get out of bed, and 2 hours later I'm going to come back and make the bed, because it was this line of thinking that got me to stop making the bed. As long as I just let the moisture evaporate, I can still go about making my bed. So, just think things through, and we got to use that gray matter in between our ears to be able to survive this. A lot of people, this machine, the beast system is in place, and it's already causing people to unalive themselves. It's already causing people's organs to give out and to die. These people are expecting that with you, and they've been successful with so many other people. So you just have to be more determined than them. And you can do it as long as you use that gray matter and you think things through, and you think, what do I need to do to save grace, to stay emotionally grounded? Exercise is great, but it's not for everyone. So maybe you are a hot bath person. Maybe you, as long as you get your favorite sitcom every night for 30 minutes, you're good. Maybe you have a sweet tooth, and a hot fudge sundae can put you on cloud 9 for 48 hours. I don't know. Everyone's different. So everyone needs to evaluate for themselves what's going to help them maintain that positive attitude, healthy psychology, and to be a survivor. Because, it would be terrible for these people to win, because at some point they have broken you, and they've got you to say, it's over. I give up. So I'm not saying to give up, because this dog that has learned helplessness, he's only learned that he's not able to have an effect on the situation with the electricity coming through the bottom of the cage. That's all he's learned. He hasn't given up. He's only learned that he has no effect on this situation. And he doesn't have the Lord, and we do. So we can say, Lord, I'm not able to solve this. I'm not able to even have a positive effect on this. So I'm going to leave it at the foot of the cross. I'm going to leave it with you. I know you consider me one of your children. I consider you one of my father. Please keep the promises that are made to me in the Bible about how you're going to protect me. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I love you. You love me. I'm just going to try to rejoice and learn what I can, learn what you want me to learn from this scenario, and go forth. So let's go forth. God bless. Have a good day.